Hi, welcome to Zaleski Sports Show. I'm your host, Rachel Zaleski, and today we're going to talk about high school playoffs, the NFL, and college football. So go ahead, joining us today is Jason, our sports expert, and also WDLB's Mike Warren Cobbs.
Yeah, right.
Hello, hello.
Yes, thanks, Mike, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Valued member of the team today. You've covered high school sports now for a number of years, probably more than you can even count.
I wouldn't say valued, but you know.
A discounted member of the team today.
Yes,
all right.
I'm on sale, so you get me at a discounted rate.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, what's up first?
First, let's go ahead, Jason. Tell us a little bit about playoffs.
Okay, we will start then in WIAA soccer playoffs. Boys soccer tournament is headed down to Milwaukee for their semifinals and finals. Division 1, Whitefish Bay, New Richmond, Oregon, Waukesha West. Just going through these kind of quickly here. The Prairie School, Division 3, McDonald Regis, and Sturgeon Bay, Kohler. McDonald Regis just beat Columbus on Saturday. Rachel, you were at that match, and we have some comments from Coach Edwards that we'll show you right now.
Congratulations on the great season. Talk about the accomplishment of winning regionals and advancing to the sectional finals.
Yeah, this was a really special team this year. Our seniors really stepped up well with the players we lost last season. I didn't know if anyone on that team thought we'd be in a sectional final this year, so these seniors carried us. The sophomores and junior class really just filled in the gaps, and we played so well together as a team. This was just a really special season, and I hate to lose like we did today. We're a better team than losing by that many goals, and it was a rough thing to see.
Yeah. So, Coach, some of the kids will play other sports this year, and for the ones whose last high school event was today, what do you say to them?
I just said thank you. These kids gave it their all from June, working hard every day during the summer, and then once the season started, they just worked so hard, and I'm so proud of every one of them out there.
All right, and we are at the closing week of WIAA volleyball playoff action. There will be champions crowned on Saturday. They will play semifinal action starting on Friday. So we'll go through those. In Division 1, River Falls, who is quite a juggernaut this year, probably the odds-on favorite, Mike, to win the Division 1 state championship. They play Kimberly, Wanakee, and Oconomowoc. Division 2 is Merrill versus Luxembourg, Casco. And match 2, Lakeside Lutheran and Catholic Memorial. We'll skip Division 3. Division 4 is Clayton versus Newman Catholic. Benton versus Lord's Academy, and then Division 3, let's go back here to Division 4. We had Newman Catholic, who beat Columbus Catholic last week on Thursday, and we will check out how that match ended for Columbus Catholic.
On to sectional semifinal action in Division 4 volleyball. Columbus Catholic Dons seeded 2, going up against the number 1 seed, Wausau Newman Cardinals. We pick up play in the first game, tied at 11. Katie Hall finds the Cardinals off balance. Annie Byrel with the serve, Newman with the return, tip, City all. Later in the first game, Newman at game point. Ball hits the floor and the Cardinals take the first, 25-20. Game 3 underway, Kate Turchi, killer instinct. In this match, the number 1 seed Wausau Newman Cardinals would overwhelm this young group of Columbus Dons 3-0. Dons will bring back many talented seniors and juniors in 2018. Wausau Newman will play Florence in the sectional final Saturday, 4 p.m. in Bowler.
All right, and then in Division 3 action, the Stratford Tigers, Mike, are alive and well. These girls have been playing lights out all year. They've lost to Wausau Newman. It's their only loss on the year. They come in ranked number 1 in Division 3, and they look for their first. This is their first trip to state as a volleyball team, and they look for their first state championship.
This is exciting. I think this is a program. We've been watching it kind of build over the course of the last several years. They had sort of been on the verge of turning the corner, I think the last year or so. And to finally see them get over that hurdle of sectional versus state is awesome. And you look at this school, they're loaded with athletes. They're coming off a state wrestling championship. Their football team is rolling as sort of the you know, the disrespected underdog in D5, which I think we'll get to in a little bit. And now this volleyball program has really taken that next step, and it is just so exciting to see for that school. They're just loaded with athletes top to bottom.
Yeah, and the girls are, they've worked hard all year. Rachel and I have been to a few of the matches this year, and it's going to be real exciting to see. Now they travel to the Resch Center in Green Bay, fabulous facility there, and let's take a look at how they got there.
And we are all tied up at 2-2. Game number 5 is underway, and Lauren Nagel takes them to 11-5. Stratford Tigers feeling it. This one's in. 12-7 now, and Zephyrs with the serve. Tigers into the net. We go now to game point, and the serve is up. It's in the net, and Stratford Tigers are going to state. We will be right back with our Highlight House player of the game, Maisie Nagel, and Coach Kafka. All right, Maisie, going to state, tell me what it feels like.
I never felt so happy in my life.
Just talk about the girls, the team, the whole season, all led up to this.
My team has done nothing but work their tails off, and it's shown.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of how far they've come.
Yeah. You were all about business tonight. I think it's the first time I've seen you smile. Now, just talk about that attitude on the court.
I get very intense and aggressive, as my teammates say, but I just have a love for the game, and I just constantly need, I have that for that win. And my team proves every day why we deserve that.
We're so glad that we're here in this situation now.
Yeah. You had to think Game 5 favored you the way your team goes in streaks, 4, 5, 6. Was that your feeling coming in?
Yeah, you know, and we play well in tough situations, and so I had no doubt that we would come out firing in that 5th game, but they, you know, put us in situations where we struggled, so I was really proud to see them come out in that 5th game.
What is it about some of your girls? Once they get that ball behind the serve line, they just rip off 4 or 5 in a row. How does that happen?
You know, that was one thing at the beginning of our season that we just said, serve can't just be putting the ball into play, we have to use it as a weapon, and some of them have really embraced that.
Does this next week of practice any different from the previous 10 weeks of practice?
I think at this point, again, we just fine-tune everything and focus on, you know, where we're struggling and do our thing.
Sectional champions Stratford Tigers will take on Eau Claire Regis. Match is scheduled for Friday at the Resch Center in Green Bay. You are watching the Zaleski Sports Show Highlight House.
You're in the house.
All right, and continuing with WIAA playoff action, Mike, we've got football now, and football certainly a lot of fun. You and I have been involved in football for quite some time. We'll go to Division 1. We'll start here in the bottom. Franklin versus Muskego, 2 familiar names in Division 1 football there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to D1, those are the most, maybe some of the most, 2 of the most recognizable schools in the state.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sun Prairie versus Madison West. Fond du Lac versus Kimberly. Kimberly's been good for a while, but that's a Donnybrook waiting to happen there.
Will they get to 69 wins? Everyone wants to know, will the win streak, the longest in the country, continue? It's almost at 6 years now. Unbelievable. The number is 69 in a row. That's what they're going for, but they got a tough task.
Yeah, Fond du Lac's had a good defense all year. And then in the other quarterfinal, Bayport versus Appleton North, and Bayport in Spash played a 4 overtime contest just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and what did they score? Over 100 points in that game? I mean, every time you turned around, somebody was scoring. And, you know, that's from the 25 sudden death rule, which is kind of interesting to watch. And that's why it can easily go 4 overtimes. And boy, a Spash team that, you know, was pretty much overachieving for most of the year. They weren't expected to really even get that far.
No, so a good, maybe that's a builder into next year in that way. 95 points scored in that game, so right on that century mark. Moving to Division 3, Anago and Rice Lake, number 1 versus number 2 at Anago.
Yeah, and you know that Anago team, we saw them, or I saw them in week 2 against Stratford. And you looked at that score and you go, wow, Stratford's really good, or is Anago not so good? You didn't really know about that team coming out of a game like that with Stratford. I actually came away from that game thinking, boy, I expected a better game. So I almost kind of wrote Anago off at one point, and I thought, oh, okay, that was nice to see him, nice to see the stadium, very historic, what have you, but we probably won't hear much from them. Here they are. coming into level 3.
Yep.
And surprising, well, number 1 seed. Obviously, they're doing. Obviously, they rebounded from the Stratford loss in week 2.
They did in the playoffs, 48-8, 21-0, and they'll look to continue that run. Moving on to Division 6, we keep Division 5 for last, and that's just appropriate this year and many years. Division 6, Iola Scandinavia, number 1 seed versus the number 2 seed, Marathon Red Raiders, and they'll play that game over in East Central Wisconsin.
Yeah, they will. Marathon, a team that is really limping literally into level 3. They have battled injuries, and not just at one position. I mean, they saw some key injuries to... Oh, you know, they have these little like scat backs, you know, that like to catch passes coming out of the backfield. And they had a couple of key injuries there. They lost, forget the kid's name, they lost a lineman early on in the year. They lost another kid, I think, to season ending. I think they were supposed to get one of those guys back. But they have been really banged up over the course of, I would say, since probably middle part of the year. Week 4 or 5 is when they really took some key injuries. And yet, Todd Stoffel and his crew, here they got him going into level 3. You know, and Auburndale is a tough team. You didn't know what Auburndale team was going to show up after they surprised Crandon. Although I think to us it was no surprise because teams in the Merriwood, let's face it, are battle tested.
They are. They're just ready.
Yeah.
They're ready for playoff football. All right, Division 7, Bangor and hot off the presses here, Edgar, number 1 seed. Wildcats, Jerry Sins and quarterback and Mr. Do-It-All in defense, Carson Butt. They're going to be ready to go on Friday night.
Yeah, and I get to call that game. And, you know, here, and again, this is like the D5 bracket. It is unfortunate that we've got the number 1 team in the state in Division 1 playing the number 2 team in the state in Division 7, playing the number 2. 1 and 2 in level 3. Yeah. And some are saying this is the state title game.
Yeah, it'll be a good game, and we expect a good call from you. You'll have a lot of fun doing that. Moving to Division 5, we've called this the meat grinder since the brackets came out. Man. This has been more exciting maybe than anything, and it's really proven out to be that way. We started back with Spencer Columbus and Ocano. Spencer Columbus moved on. Actually, all 4 of the higher seeds moved on with the exception of Stratford Bondwell, but I say higher seed because I still believe that they were maybe over-penalized for their loss against Edgar that last year to get that number 5. So here we are. Stratford, as you were at that game against Stanley Boyd, was able to really just overwhelm those kids from Stanley Boyd. Let's take a look at the highlights, and then we'll get your reaction after that.
Welcome to the Zaleski Sports Show Highlight House. We travel with the Stratford Tigers to take on the Stanley Boyd Orioles on a snowy, windy, cold, fall-winter day. This is a rematch of Week 1, and the Stratford Tigers get the revenge they were looking for, 38-0. Let's go to 92.3's Mike Warren for the call.
The Stanley Boyd 7-yard line. Cade Erkey up the middle. Erkey fighting his way to the end zone. Cade Erkey puts it on the scoreboard one more time. Again. 3rd and 12. Hendrick fakes the handoff, rolling to his left. Now looking downfield, throwing, and intercepted by Meyer. Intercepted. He overthrew. Score enough points against this Stanley Boyd team. Hendrick now back to pass. Deep down the left side, wide open at the Stanley Boyd 35. And a foot race, they're not going to get him to the end zone. Wide open is the tight end Eli Drexler, and it's a 39-yard touchdown. Single setback, receivers right and left. Fake handoff, Hendrick over the middle. Wide open at the Tiger 49-yard line. Was that Drexler again? Yes. Under center, powerhouse backfield on 4th and 2. Hendrick turns and gives left side, wide open.
Coach Jason Tubbs and our Highlight House player of the game coming up right after that.
They sure helped us out a lot, I think, because they're a type of offense that wants to spread the ball and throw the ball, but give our guys an amazing amount. I told them if they shut them out, I'd take them out for dinner, and I really didn't think I was going to have to pay up on that bet. But real proud of the guys, team effort. Guy gets hurt, you know, kind of a safety take them out of the game, but our next guy, AJ Sheen, who comes right in, Eli Drexler playing great, catches a touchdown. Just an awesome team effort. Kids are really excited. You could pick 5 guys, but he's a great guy, great kid, and he steps in, asks him to do anything, and boy, he played great tonight, and that's what we expect from our seniors.
Zaleski Sports Show, Highlight House player of the game, Jordan Becker. Jordan, big 38-0 win here against Stanley Boyd. Redemption after week 1, I think.
Yeah, we lost week 1 by touchdown. We made a lot of simple mistakes like fumbling on the 1-yard line. We had a lot of penalties in the red zone, which stopped us from scoring, and then we had scored another one with the block in the back, and then we ended up not scoring on that drive. So we just focused on not making mistakes all week so then this happened. So yeah, it works out if you just do your job and play smart.
Right. Yep. Every man do his job. You got to count on the guy next to you all game long. You mentioned it. A couple missed opportunities in that first game. No missed opportunities today, including a touchdown run from you. What were you seeing behind the offensive line today?
They were blocking very well. All the running backs stepped up. They made a huge hole. So it's easy to run when there's a big hole in front of you. It was always open for like 10 yards, so it's just easy to run when they're good at blocking and do their job.
All right. That was our Zaleski Sports Show Highlight House player of the game, Jordan Becker, and that means you are watching the Zaleski Sports Show Highlight House.
I'm in the house!
All right, Mike, Stratford defense, about as hot as you could want a defense to be coming in. They're going to take on Amherst. They're going to need defense for that. But first, though, your thoughts on the game up at Stanley Boyd?
That was, oh man, all that rain and wind. You guys were out there. You know that better than I do. But that was, you want to say neutralizer, but really Stanley Boyd is a team that relies on that quick passing game. And not even quick sometimes. They went deep a couple times. There was a gimme touchdown that the kid dropped wide open that would have made it 7-7. It would have been probably their only score of the game. But really that short, quick passing game, and it was taken out by the weather, I think. And so you kind of found out about a team like Stanley Boyd when the weather plays such a factor in that game. They just weren't able to get that passing game going. And with Stratford's tough run defense, you knew that they had to go to the pass, and they just couldn't get it going. L.J. Schmelzer just, high-powered offense all year long until they run into A, Stratford's defense, and B, those weather conditions that they just couldn't overcome.
Yeah, it was brutal. I think I'm thawed out, though, by now. We've got Friday coming up. I'll be frozen yet again. And then Amherst, in a rematch of last year, 2016 playoffs, again blew past Spencer Columbus, and now they're right up against Stratford.
And 3 years in a row now, Amherst knocks Spencer Columbus out in postseason. Of course, you go back to the title game from 2015, 48-0. We all remember that one. But yeah, last year and now again this year. And again in level 2, where again it's almost unfortunate you've got teams of this quality meeting so early in the postseason. But Amherst, I mean, man, Gladowski is just something else. He was pretty much their offense against Spencer Columbus. And couldn't stop him. You just couldn't. And if Stratford finds a way to stop Gladowski, my money's on Stratford. I like their chances if they can stop that quarterback. It's going to be a heck of a matchup.
There's one defense, Mike, in Division 5 that can stop Amherst, and that's the defense that they'll go up against on Friday night.
Yeah,
so we'll see. The rubber's going to meet the road.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And we will find out. I don't know. I got a sneaky suspicion it'll be a low-scoring game, and that's interesting to say when Amherst scores 53-49. Stratford scored 38 and 42. To have a low-scoring game would be something, but that may be what happens.
I think that favors Stratford because they can hand the ball off to Erke and Becker and Redmond and A.J. Shanefoos and these guys, and they can just ground and pound. And, your best defense against Amherst is hanging on to the ball. If their time of possession is off the charts, that is the key to beating Amherst. Don't let them have the ball. And if they can possess the ball, I think that'll be a key stat in this game.
Well, get out and watch these games. Support your local schools. We realize that some of these schools have a bit of a drive to get there. Or if you just prefer on staying warm on Friday night, FocusOnMarshfield.com is your home to find out where to watch these games online. These are free broadcasts to you, so just click on FocusOnMarshfield.com. You can watch the games, and you may even hear Mike Warren on the radio during the game. Doing that. So we appreciate your helping during those too.
I was going to say, despite that, still tune in and watch.
Mute button is just a click away.
Yes, it is.
All right, Rachel, turning to regional sports, go right ahead.
The Zaleski Sports Show went to Stevens Point this last Saturday to watch the Pointers lose to the Whitewater Warhawks, 7-35. So you can always check out those highlights and any other highlights on our Zaleski Sports Show page at zaleskisports.com. Also, this Saturday, November 4th, we'll be going to Stevens Point again to watch the Pointers take on the Falcons. So, Jason.
Yeah, well, it's Senior Day in Stevens Point, and Senior Day is an emotional day for these football players as they finish out their collegiate career. For those fortunate enough and have the drive and the work ethic to make it to the college level, many of them now will finish their sports career on this Senior Day.
It's cool to me to see, I realize he's not at that level, but just watching Matt Ermansky rise into the fall, settle into that spot at quarterback, kid out of Edgar, a kid that I covered at the state tournament, just a kind of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but it was kind of he was kind of thrown into that role after the injury, and here he comes and really has done some nice things. Looks like a college quarterback, and that is, when you're talking D6 at the time for Edgar to Division III football, that's a pretty big jump.
It is.
And it's great to watch Matt kind of settle into that role. That's been the kind of the best part about watching the Pointers for me from that standpoint, watching a kid that you covered in high school make a nice transition to the college game.
Yeah, and he certainly made the most of it. He's still got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
We see that with his play, but he's certainly ahead of the curve at this point. Ryan Swigert for the Pointers, senior quarterback, broke his leg in the first conference game this year. So a tough way to end, although he'll be there for senior night, Rachel, so we'll get to say hi to Ryan. And then they've had, Stevens Point's had so many injuries. They have a freshman starting at running back. They have a sophomore that you mentioned, Ermansky, at quarterback. Tristan Wilson from Marshfield, sophomore, starting on the offensive line. And just so many injuries, I can't even name them all. They've got a middle linebacker playing with a club for an arm. It's something else. So head down to Stevens Point and check out Senior Day. They're going to have a lot of fun over there. And you can always check out our website, ZaleskiSportsShow.com, to find out the WEAC schedule and where we will be next, even next week. Rachel.
Going on to Sports 101, this is a segment where we just have a fundamental question, and I'm going to kind of throw this towards Mike. So why is it that sometimes, like when I'm watching football, at the games, I see multiple coaches making arm movements and signals and all at the same time to different players?
Well, I guess wouldn't it be different position coaches? I think primarily. I don't know, are we talking NFL now?
Well, I think what Rachel's talking about is oftentimes there are two coaches simultaneously motioning to the folks on the field. Certainly one's a decoy, I think, is usually what's happening there.
Could be. Yeah. I sometimes I know it is different position coaches, but you're right. I think most of the time it could be a decoy. Yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah,
and even with those different position coaches, you got to make sure your eyes are on the right coach.
I know. Right. Yeah, look at the right coach. No, that is interesting. Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, yeah. I've noticed from time to time a certain coach will wear pink or green, some sort of bright color wristbands. That's again so that linebacker, that defensive back that's way on the other side of the field can identify which coach it is. And certainly you don't want the other coaches on the other side of the field knowing what's coming.
Well, and the other thing is, you mentioned that, often you wonder why you're looking at the coaching staff, and boy, they all look good. They're wearing the same shirt, the same pants, except for that one guy who's wearing that other, color. They're all wearing green, except that one guy's wearing white.
Yeah.
How come? Yeah. That's why. He's a certain guy that they have to find real quick. Look for the guy in the white shirt or the yellow shirt or whatever. Whatever shirt stands out, a lot of times he's the guy that players have to find real quick.
What I found fun here over the last couple of years, especially in the college game, I've seen it twice now this year in high school. There's a coach that's got a sandwich board with all kinds of unique drawings and pictures on it. If you can decipher that, you're on your next step in your career.
It almost looks like flashcards for kindergartners.
Yes.
And you're going, well, I guess, keep it simple. Right. They got to recognize quickly and make a call very quick. You're talking 10, 20, 30 seconds sometimes. They have to recognize a symbol or whatever real fast. I guess keep it as simple as you possibly can.
Yeah. Good sports 101, Rachel. That's an interesting conversation, and something we'll probably talk to a coach about soon too, and see if they can give us some information. Now, they're not going to break the code for us.
As long as it's not baseball with all those signals, man. Don't ask me what any of that stuff means.
Right.
I know balls, strikes, a hit, not a hit. Beyond that, your guess is as good as mine. So.
All right. So Jason, tell us a little bit more about NFL.
About the NFL? Okay. Well, we'll give our quick standings update here, and Stephen will get our camera ready over here. So this is an easy one, Mike. Nothing's really, and that was a good look with me off the camera. Nothing's changed since last week. Standings are status quo. We'll start here. I'll just go through the first place teams. The NFC, the Eagles, Vikings, Saints, and Rams. And in the East, the Patriots, Steelers, Titans, and Chiefs. So we are going to make one update here on this board. The Cleveland Browns. Out of here. Okay. So, Mike, thoughts on the NFL season so far?
Well, other than the Browns can't get the trade into the league office, they missed the deadline by, what, a few seconds, was it?
They don't even belong to be on the board.
Oh, that's like Minnesota not getting their draft pick in
I remember that,
on time and not being able to make a phone call on time.
Right.
Other than that, this is the year of the star quarterback going down. How many are we seeing now? And not only that, faces of franchises going down. Watt in Houston, out. Rodgers in Green Bay, out. Carson Palmer in Arizona, out. A lot of teams have suffered major injuries, and it just seems to be quarterbacks. Tannehill in Miami, another great example. The Jets, and they have a continuous rotation at quarterback.
They do.
Who else am I thinking of? Minnesota. Keenum, he's a backup. He's not a starter.
Yeah, Bradford was
Chicago
He sure
brought
is
in.
playing like a starter.
Chicago brought in. What's his name?
Oh,
the draft pick.
Trubisky.
He's in. He's not. We all thought Jay Cutler might have that job. He's not there. He's in Miami and he's out. So no matter where he plays, he gets hurt. It just seems it is the year of either star quarterbacks or franchise guys going out, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I think it's a lot of these divisions, other than Kansas City maybe running away with the West, or trying to.
Seems like it. They've certainly got a big advantage there.
And Philadelphia in the NFC East, that might be your Super Bowl.
Yeah, and those two teams will play this year.
Yeah, that's the Andy Reid Bowl right there.
Right.
He went from Philly to KC, and now could be coaching against his former team in the Super Bowl. I don't know. At this point, I think a lot of these divisions are toss-ups. And then you got all the problems that Carolina's having with Cam Newton can't even do a press conference. So And the Falcons, who were in the Super Bowl last year, what's happening there? I don't know what's going on.
Tough sledding for a lot of these teams, and
it's a weird year in the NFL. It really is.
Uncertain futures for sure. We're at the halfway point in this NFL season. Rachel, we have reached the end, though, of this show. So take us on out of here.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. This has been the Zaleski Sports Show. I'm Rachel. This is Jason and Mike. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook at Zaleski Sports. Zaleski Sports Show, and then also on Twitter at Zaleski Sports. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and have a great rest of your week.
Go Sports. And then we're going to skip. Do we do Division 5 last just because it's such a...
Yeah, that's the only team I would have seen that's left. I saw Auburndale. Oh, yeah. Auburndale. I saw the one win. Oh, yeah, we were there. Yeah.
Done?
That was fun. That was a quick look.
Yeah.
It's like I almost didn't even see it. Like driving through Unity.
Yeah.
Almost didn't see it.